Wrestletalk TV is sponsored by the Daily Squash Podcast and online wrestling training school WrestlingKnowledge.org.
Hello Treacles, welcome to Wrestletalk TV, the show that aims to make you, the wrestling fan, more happier than Mick Foley and a $500 voucher for flannel shirts or us. But let's be honest, between me and you, I mean, with a wife that hot, he doesn't need our help, does he?
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't.
Lucky man.
Now this sofa right here, I'm telling you, it's the hottest sofa you're going to find anywhere on telly this time of night, right?
It's a little bit hot.
Yeah. The person sitting right here is so hot, when they walk through a park, tulips just erupt with their presence. Skin so smooth, smoother than a cherub's bottom. Ladies and gentlemen, Patrick Lennon!
Oh, thank you very much, Greg. Thank you.
And some bird called Catherine Miller. So, without further ado, here's what we got on tonight's show. From the Midnight Express to the Rock and Roll Express, from the Heart Foundation to the British Bulldogs, we run down Wrestletalk TV's definitive list of the top 10 tag teams of all time. What happens when you take this show and make it for one of the world's largest audiences? Throw in a completely different cast and do it all in a whole other language? We go behind the scenes of Wrestletalk TV India. Plus, we have all the latest news and rumours from around the globe. So, all that's still to come. But first, on this day in history in 1997, Randy Savage, oh yeah! He defeated DDP in the Great American Bash, the main event. You know, good match. It's not too bad. 2003, this day, Triple H defeated Kevin Nash. Honk, honk! Can I get a honk, honk, guys? Honk, honk, do it at home. Honk, honk. Put on the left. Honk, honk. He defeated Kevin Nash in a match of bad blood. Is this all you've given me today? Is this all that happened today?
It's a quiet
What did
day.
you do 5 years ago today, Patrick?
Alcohol and
time hop.
Do you remember what we did this time last year?
Oh, I do.
Do you remember?
How could I forget?
It's great, wasn't it?
It was.
Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. But guys, yeah, so we're straying off a little bit here, okay? So the team here at Wrestletalk, we've compiled for you, the good people of Britain, yeah? Wrestletalk's top 10 tag teams, not of yesterday, not of today, but of all time!
Yes, good stuff.
So feel free to join the conversation. The hashtag is on the bottom of the screen right now. So let's get straight into the all-time top 10 tag teams. So at number 10, who do you think, guys? Who do you think? Have a quick guess.
Really?
It wasn't. It's the Rockers, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, right,
Rockers.
okay. That's interesting to see them at number 10, isn't it?
It is a very interesting fact for you. They're one of the tag teams that never actually won, officially, the WWF title.
Wasn't there some mix-up over a taping or something? I don't...
Well, I'll tell you what happened.
Oh,
Patrick,
goody. All right.
Honey Bunny.
Story.
My bearded big man. So basically what happened is they won the titles on a TV taping, but the ring broke.
Ah, yeah,
So
yeah.
basically they couldn't air the match. So what they did promise them to give them on a later date, but it actually never happened. Controversially through Mighty Jannetty, apparently. Not sure, but you know.
They had loads of energy,
wrestling.
didn't they? They always got everybody going, and this was a thing. Kind of
One of my childhood memories, the Rockers, you know. Kick through a barbershop window.
Yeah.
Every kid my age remembers that. So at number 9, we've got the Steiner Brothers.
Ooh, okay.
The Steiner Brothers.
Significant global contribution, the Steiner brothers, really. You know, everywhere they went, Japan, obviously America, where they're from, but they obviously held tag titles all over the place.
Yeah, totally. I think they're one of the very rare tag teams that actually own a championship in all the top major promotions around the world, Japan.
Oh, wow.
So
Very iconic look again. Yeah, that's the thing. I always loved the way they look. Absolutely amazing.
I've actually worked Steiner as well. He
Have
was
you?
powerful.
Oh, well,
He's a big man.
Yeah, he looks it, eh? Yeah.
Very big, very big. Doesn't talk a lot though. I got stuck in a lift with him.
Really?
So yeah, just ended up talking about the
Was
weather,
just silent.
which was surreal, in fact.
It's better than an awkward silence.
Well, it was kind of awkward, but he's massive. It's like in Italy, they've got stupid little lifts, and there's me and Steiner just talking about the weather. So, anyway, wrestling. So at number 8, we've got Edge and Christian.
Oh, there we go.
That's some surprise there at number 8. They'd be higher up the list for me.
Yeah, well, 7 times WWE champions as well.
Yeah.
No, incredible. I think that the psychology, particularly, I've always been a big fan of Christian, huge fan of Christian. One of the most entertaining guys. I remember when he eventually got his supposed singles run and all this.
Yeah.
He came out at a Raw in Birmingham, they were filming over here, and I've never heard a pop like it for anybody.
Well, the crazy thing you've got to remember about Edge and Christian, I mean, they started off in their WWF run as actually vampires
Yeah,
in
with
Gangrel's
Gangrel, yeah.
stable.
Yeah.
So to have a successful run in the WWF from a fairly uncredible gimmick as vampires to successful 7-time tag team champion, that's quite a.
They
quite
did have this
achievement.
kind of like clean cut, lovely blonde kind of, presentable.
Oh, steady.
I didn't mean it like that,
That's
mate.
right. God.
No, they got a good blend of looking great. They're amazing matches. I mean, what they did with the Hardys, who I sincerely hope appear on the list at some point.
Well,
Yeah,
I think they helped, put the TLC match on there.
Absolutely right.
without a doubt.
So at number 7, we've got Demolition.
Oh.
Here comes the axe. Here comes the smasher.
Axe and smash. But they were like credible big lads, weren't they?
Big,
proper big men
burly
who were
men,
going in there and
Very
you wouldn't die one of them.
interesting attire.
Now that was it. Well, somebody was saying, somebody described them once to me as kind of the poor man's Road Warriors, right?
Yeah,
wasn't
I
that
mean,
the idea?
well, the
They were
rumours
always
are
prepared,
they're Vince's Road Warriors because
Right.
you couldn't get the Road Warriors.
Yeah,
so
well, there we go.
but kind of like a Mad Max theme as well,
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And surprisingly, the only one who's wrestling now out of all of them was the oldest one who had a heart attack, which is kind of crazy, So yeah, I mean, well done, Demolition. So number 6, what do you reckon, guys?
Well, that's a tough one.
And a
Just
couple
on
of
that
random
cusp of top 5.
What do you reckon? Modern or?
Yeah, I think it could be someone fairly recent.
Well, it's bad news for you, Catherine, really, because it's your boys, the Hardy Boys.
Oh, they're number 1. Come on. Who thought this list?
I don't know. All the team.
Who am I
the
going to
team.
have to see?
All the team.
Oh, okay.
All of them.
Joint effort.
Well, they're pioneers, I suppose, aren't they, Greg? I mean, they can't be credited with creating high-flying wrestling, but they certainly took it on with the TLC and everything like that. Fantastic performers. Took risks.
We're doing later.
Anything you want.
Oh, he says that. He says that. He doesn't. I shouldn't. My other husband, Cassandra's going to get jealous.
Oh, he will, won't he?
So
Oh, yeah.
I'll stop. Love you, honey.
Friend.
Anyway, okay, so who did the WrestleTalk TV vote for the number 1 tag team of all time? You have to find out after this. So what happens when you mix one of the best shows on telly, for one of the largest audiences in the world, and in another language? I don't know. Do you know?
Sounds confusing.
I don't. No.
We go behind the scenes of WrestleTalk TV, India.
हेलो इंडिया नमस्ते सत श्री अकाल खुश आमदीद रेसल टॉक टीवी में इंडिया में आपका दोस्त और आपका होस्ट
My name's Atif Nawaz. I'm a stand-up comedian and a TV presenter based in London, and I'm the host of Wrestletalk TV India.
So today we're shooting the first ever WrestleTalk TV India, which is really strange. I spent some time in India back about 5 years ago, and I knew there was a big potential wrestling scene. And to think that the WrestleTalk concept is something that we could potentially, sort of move on to other countries is exciting. And the fact that it's actually India, where I feel like I had a bit of unfinished business, it is fantastic.
प्रिडिक्टिबिलिटी फैक्टर में जिसके बारे में बातें कर रहा था मैं कह रहा था वो मिल नहीं रहा लेकिन इस WrestleMania 30 में पाया गया because Undertaker lost his streak.
I think there's a lot of love for wrestling in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh. The people there love wrestling, they adore it, they have a strong tradition in wrestling as well. The way they enjoy it isn't really that different from the Western fans. There's a little bit of a different kind of passion. People get really angry, when they talk about wrestling, and their opinions are quite fiery. So there's a lot of that when you watch WrestleTalk India.
My name's Arman Kermani. I'm a guest. I've been flown in from the sets of Bollywood and come to give my expert opinion on wrestling which is another form of entertainment, and I've got a lot to say.
अंडरटेकर की स्ट्रीक ब्रॉक लेसनर को नहीं थी इस बार
Brock Lesnar ने जो match जीता,
It's very animated, you know, like the actual back and forth. Indian television's kind of different to English television. There's a lot more conflict on screen in a lot of their chat shows, so we've tried to go more in that general direction, and it's actually been really fun, and the crew found it really interesting to watch, and to see some of the Wrestletalk TV, like the yes, 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 and the no, 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 and the botch box translated into Hindi is surreal, but it's a nice type of surreal, and yeah, we're enjoying it, so it's a lot of fun.
Now get ready, because after the break we'll be asking the panel this week's yes/no question. Was CM Punk right to leave the WWE through frustration?
Interesting. Chew that one over.
Yep. Have a think about it.
It's a tough one, but you know, we think about, you know, we have a break. But guys, you're in for a little bit of a treat.
Oh, goody.
Now I don't even know this, but me personally and my partner Gary Vannon, we're the kings of lucha in Europe. Okay, so I've pulled a couple of strings. You know, I've talked to the lucha lords. Yeah. And we've managed to make you guys some complimentary luchadors.
Wow.
Oh, fantastic. Hey, look at that.
We've had a little think about it. I mean, gimmick and personality is a big thing of Lucha Libre. So I've personally chose some masks for our customary luchadors here to wear. So
Brilliant. Oh, I can't wait.
Privileged.
wait until the break, see what I've got for my little luchadors, and we'll see you in a minute.
Wow.
Wrestletalk TV is sponsored by the Daily Squash Podcast and online wrestling training school, WrestlingKnowledge.org.
Hello and welcome to Wrestletalk TV.
The show for wrestling fans is now better than ever, with even more access to the biggest names.
Chris Jericho, Bret Hitman Hart, welcome.
More of the rumours.
Ric Flair back on WWE TV.
The controversy.
Well, that was so unnecessary.
And the totally unexpected.
No.
WrestleTalk TV. Sunday at 11 on Challenge.
Welcome back to a very, very special Lucha second half of the show. I did promise you a very, very special treat, people at home. I've got our very special guests here. Masks, Lucha masks. You've had the ceremony, the Luchador ceremonies. Moon Mascaras, right? He jumped in the district line, came all the way to London, yeah, just to give him the masks. It's crazy. But that's Wrestletalk TV, that's the power we have. Okay, so I'm going to ask, guys, put your masks on. Stay with me, people at home. Keep the cameras on me. You're going to put their masks on. Okay? Very special.
Good Lord.
Now, you've got to remember, these masks represent what I think lays deep within themselves. That's the power of Lucha Libre. The power of unmasking yourself and letting the internal energy out. So I give you, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, our Luchadores!
I don't know what you must think of me if this is what you're representing.
Really,
I've got
really
gills.
sexy.
I actually think it's an improvement and I'm slightly aroused right now. And so I think a lot of people here would agree with me, right? Yep. But Catherine, you're... But yeah, so let's get on to our next question. It's the yes, no question. Was CM Punk right to be frustrated enough to walk out of the WWE? So, I've been told to come in here and
You've got a marvellous monobrow.
God,
It's brilliant, isn't it? It's
freshly
almost
shaven
like
armpit hair right here. I just passed these over.
shaved. Thank you, Squire.
Okay, so was CM Punk right to be frustrated enough to walk out of WWE?
Right, well, I'm going with an absolute...
No.
Yeah, is that a no?
Yes.
That's a yes, right. Yes, big beardy yes from the guy with the moustache. Yeah, it's up to him, to be honest. If he's that frustrated, he can do what he likes.
We've got to take these off. I can't take it seriously. I'm just getting too aroused by
Very
Patrick.
question.
Too aroused by Patrick and I'm
Good
asked.
Lord, that's
Shall I keep
absolutely
mine on? Do you prefer that on?
Yes, please, honey. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. But yeah, it's his choice, isn't it? Let's be honest. If he's that annoyed, then he can walk out. That's my
Really,
opinion.
though? Really?
Really.
I'm going to beg to differ, Pat.
Okay.
I'm going to say no. Just for the fact is, he's an employee. You should be professional. That's just my opinion. I think he should maybe have dealt with it slightly different. I mean, to his credit, though, he hasn't badmouthed the company. He hasn't gone public.
I'm going to be controversial right down the middle. I'm going to say no, he's not right because it's very unprofessional.
Right.
But yes, I mean, the pressure you're under in a company that big to perform on a day in, day out basis, 325 days a week, living inside a microcosm of arenas, you know.
Well, we don't know the exact circumstances of what happened,
Well, this
so
is
it's
it. We don't do
speculation
it.
anyway. So.
We don't.
So, yeah. OK, so feel free to get involved at home. The hashtag is at the bottom of the screen. But let's move on now. Let's carry on to the all-time greatest tag teams in the world.
Right, OK. Yeah, fair enough.
OK, so we left at number 6 with the Hardy Boys. At number 5, we've got a split right down the middle. 2 teams make this, OK? We've got the Rock and Roll Express and we've got the Midnight Express.
Ah, OK. Fair enough.
What do you think about
Friend
that,
of the show,
fellas?
Jim Cornette, knows a lot about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm too young. For once, I'm too young.
I was going to say, it must be all the old Wrestle Talk execs voting here.
So, you know, it's a feud that you read about, isn't it? It's a feud that you hear about the legendary matches and the feats that those guys did across various territories in America, and it's universally respected, isn't it? So, fair play.
I mean, no tag team in the world could be taken seriously if they haven't really studied, you know, the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express feud. I mean, it's like sacrilegious almost not to kind of study the art of this feud, really. But yeah, I mean, I'll go with that. Joint 5, they both should be in there. Number 4. What do you reckon?
Anybody's guess. 3MB.
Close.
Their only fan in the audience.
It's almost there. It's the Heart Foundation.
Oh, well, there we go. I mean,
close.
What could you say? We could be eulogised. We could do a whole show on the Hearts, couldn't we? I mean,
We could.
extraordinary.
Well, there's enough of them.
Extraordinary achievement what those guys did. You know, often much maligned at the time in the company, didn't really often get the respect that they deserve rather for their technical ability and the psychology of the matches. Absolutely outstanding. A lesson in the craft, definitely.
Number 3.
Ooh, who've we got?
Dun, 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 dun. Chuck and Billy. No, it's not. It's the British Bulldogs.
Yay!
Yes.
Well, again, you know, if you're looking back at some of the stuff that went on, you know, on the Stampede Wrestling releases that have been made in recent times, again, you look at what Bret Hart attributes to what the Bulldogs achieved and how Tommy Billington was Dynamite Kid was just an incredible pioneer and changed the way the Americans saw what was going on at the time. You can't underestimate what those guys did, and they learned it all together on the road in Canada with Stampede Wrestling, didn't they? Rather than, you know, what we saw as a latter incarnation.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you, I'm a huge mark, and I pretty much will say any wrestler out there is a huge mark for the British Bulldogs of Japan. Check out any of their matches on the internet, guys. Amazing stuff, amazing stuff. Okay, so number 2.
Down to the last 2, huh?
I think I've one of them. I've got people in my head, but there must be 1 or 2. So tell us.
Your voice is in your head.
Yeah, I've got voices in my head.
Good, excellent.
But
She has. It's the Dudley Boys.
yeah, that's what I was
There we
thinking.
go. There we go.
I had to have a mention. I was thinking it's got to be one of the 2.
Well, the other 2 have already been in. But, you know, what can you say?
Let me ask you a question. How many title reigns do you think they've had?
Over 20. I wouldn't know the exact.
Ruin it. You're supposed to
It's
go
spot
low
on.
or go high.
Higher. I reckon higher than 20.
It's 23.
3, Greg.
So, you know what I mean?
23. Well, that speaks for itself, doesn't it? I mean, extraordinary. You know, even the early incarnations in ECW as well. I love Bubba Dudley, absolutely love him. Even to this day, as a singles guy, he's really been brilliant in the last couple of years for TNA. You know, in difficult circumstances often as well. Yeah. But just the attitude when he comes out and just like eyeballing the crowd and all that.
Because they were big guys. They didn't do a lot of the high spots that your Edge and Christian and Hardys could do, but they held their own more than enough times with anybody that they were in the ring with. They had some outstanding matches.
Well, this is instantly credible as well. This is the thing. We should also mention Spike, shouldn't we? Because people often forget that he was involved.
There was
that
loads,
big dick Doug Blake.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The great thing about the Dudleys, a lot of people don't realise it's actually a spin-off from a movie.
Right.
That Paul Heyman saw with a bunch of family members that were strung together wearing glasses. I think it was slap shot, like a hockey-based movie.
Okay, right. Yeah.
So it's actually a rib kind of, and it works. It goes to show that the cross between movies and wrestling's there, and it can work. So
if you ever see you like Bubba, he's credible. He could clear a bar, that lad.
Yeah.
He's a really genuinely intimidating person when you meet him. A nice guy.
I did meet him in a bar once.
Yeah.
Oh, did you? I bet you did.
Not in that way.
I've heard stuff about you, Catherine. To be honest,
Best date you ever had. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got to the top.
Here we go.
The apex
Numero uno
of the list. Okay, what do you reckon?
I'm trying to think of who it could be.
Well, it could be. Oh goodness, I don't know. There's one which it kind of sticks out that maybe we haven't
Team
heard
Shag?
from yet. Huh?
Team Shag.
Team Shag. That's it. That's them. Yeah. Yeah.
The number one list, the greatest tag team of all time, ladies and gentlemen. Chuck and Billy. No, it's the Road Warriors. I mean, who else could it have been? Right?
No, yeah, quite right.
Absolute icons.
Well, I suppose, fair play to Demolition for making it into the list at all, given who won it, you know what I mean? It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Dominated 2 decades, didn't they?
Yep.
And just iconic again, a look that you won't forget.
Especially their first ring gear, the arseless chap kind of look.
Yeah. I know it's been taken on by a British wrestler, I know.
You've got a pair of them, haven't you, Patrick?
Only on a Sunday.
Only on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Saturday as well.
Sunday tonight.
When he's wearing that mask.
I haven't got an arseless suit, unfortunately. No. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're supposed to be talking about the bloody Road Warriors. This is rather than my buttocks. Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. What can you say? You remember it so well.
Worthy for the top spot, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of controversial. Vince bringing in the whole alcoholism gimmick with Hulk.
Given what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, not in the best of taste, I suppose.
No,
but when was Vince ever always in the best of taste?
Yeah,
so.
quite right. Yeah, we're used to it.
Okay, well, that completes our list of the top 10 tag teams of all time, ladies and gentlemen, voted by the Wrestletalk staff.
Well done.
Do you know what? You're spoiled at home, all of you. You're spoiled. The things you get, you get Patrick talking about his personal sex life with his arseless jokes, Catherine talking about meeting men in bars. You get it all here, right, on Wrestletalk TV. Okay, gang, so that's all we've got time for on the show, unfortunately.
Oh, it's been a pleasure, mate.
It has, isn't it? Do you know what? I've loved it here so much, I've loved it. I've really loved it.
We've loved having you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Much more to come as well.
Am I? Now, would you have me back?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely,
so.
yeah.
Would you have me back and some other people?
Well,
Depends
depends.
who
I'll
they
get a
are.
bit jealous, Greg, you see.
What about...
Chuck and Billy.
Yes. Chuck and Billy, Arseless Chaps, and the whole Lucha Britannia team Yeah, a bit of Lucha Mania going on here in the studio. What do you reckon?
That'd be immense.
That'd be awesome.
Absolutely
Well, let's
brilliant.
do it.
Can't
Do you
wait.
wanna
Let's
see
do
it?
it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, listen, there's only one way to end this, guys, okay? We've got a traditional thing we do in Bethnal Green, okay? We all start low. Lucha, 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 lucha. We'll see you all next week. Wrestletalk TV!
Wrestletalk TV is sponsored by the Daily Squash Podcast and online wrestling training school WrestlingKnowledge.org.